Ah, Freedom Rings. The fanfiction that actually started me on the fight we chose. But this one being, of course, the one that really kind of jump-started a lot of stuff. That and, of course, America and Other World. But this one we're covering because a lot has happened, and a lot of you have been asking me to kind of talk about, or at least kind of talk about it more. And since it's America Month, I thought, why not a better opportunity than to kind of see exactly what has happened so far.
Well, we're waiting.
Well, a lot, actually, considering that now the United States and, of course, the United Nations are bringing the pain. After, of course, giving giving Marley and the New World Order, basically this world's version of a fucked up UN, a tyrannical version, even though it kind of is, not even going to comment on that, is basically stubborn as all hell. They decided that why not go ahead and show them how stubborn they are. And what better way to do it than outsmart them tactically and militarily? And they do. When the forces of this NWO actually come on, of course, Paradise Island, they're tricked in the most wonderful of ways. Kind of like Yojo Senki with Operation Lockpick, or, Revolving Door, whichever operation you want to go with. Where they literally walk into a goddamn trap. That trap being, lead your forces inland and then have them absolutely surrounded and decimated. The Prussians, of course, having their pride absolutely destroyed by their German counterparts. And that's kind of the thing of it, is that, tactically speaking, they are relying on old tactics that have basically, they thought would be tried and true. Trench warfare. A lot of other things that honestly nowadays don't really work, but do if you want to go with the Ukraine conflict, but we're not getting into that. No, ladies and gentlemen, this conflict is one-sided, but at the same time has multiple layers. While the Paradise Invasion was an absolute fucking failure of the highest degree, the operations inland are much worse. In this world's version of Japan, the Japanese operators, of course, led by Itami, are found by the Kempei Tai, but, well, sad to say, are kind of thwarted. And the Japanese military, of course, show up and begin their operations to essentially liberate Japan, or at least in my opinion, liberate Japan from a military dictatorship that is sadly, yeah, if you know history, you know history. Moving on. What about Russia, though? What about everything else that's been set up? Well, the portal from our world has been opened. And from there, the Russians are going to liberate their alternate homeland. And whether or not we see, of course, another version of Lenin, Stalin, and, of course, Trotsky in this is completely totally up to the author. But if he does do this, do it in a way that actually sways them away from communism. If that does actually work, Jesus Christ. The other thing, of course, is that they do. Fucking Russian forces and tanks are rolling through the villages, liberating them one by one, telling them that the true Russian leaders and, of course, glorious comrades, the greatest country, are here to liberate them from the tyranny of not only, of course, the New World Order, but also the puppet of the Tsar. And basically are going in to liberate the Russian Empire and kind of do what they do. Whether or not we see some parallels to the Ukrainian conflict is completely up to the author, but knowing the author personally, I don't think he's going to make those parallels. But again, it's kind of up to him. Marley, of course, has been infiltrated by not only, of course, the CIA goddamn A, because, of course, the CIA, but also the operator herself kind of literally doing some cool stuff. I mean, the weapon she goes with is literally a SBR with a chambered in 300 blackout. Now, don't get me wrong, I love 300 blackout. I know its purpose. I get it. It's a very good cartridge and does give very good superior penetration. But I don't know. I'm kind of torn on that. I mean, I would have loved to have seen her going with maybe MP7, a P90, any other PDW style platform. But again, I get it. I really do. But that's just a personal thing for me. You know, it's just how it is. Now, Marley has fallen, essentially. Thanks to, of course, the combined efforts of the 101st Airborne, or basically the Airborne, not the 101st, although I'd have to look back. Again, I'm sorry I'm late to the game, folks. I'm just a little bit, But they do actually come in and literally liberate well, not really liberate, begin the liberation of Marley. And begin, of course, kind of doing things going around. Now, the big thing that the author himself has actually expressed is how to do the children, the warriors of Marley. Gabby, especially, considering that in the manga, Gabby is kind of a fanatic, or at least the kind of stereotype indoctrinated SOB who is sort of like a Hitler Youth. Brainwashed into believing the whole ideology. How one can do that, I'm going to give my suggestion here. You can have a dedoctrination process, because there is actual documentation of how people have been dedoctrinated. And when I mean dedoctrinate, I mean undoing the doctrination of cults and stuff, where they basically have understood that they were brainwashed and are trying to fix themselves. Gabby could be a good example of this, and the author could actually explore the indoctrination process, kind of give commentary on how indoctrination can be hurtful to a population as well as to a regime, and how that can definitely come back and bite them in the ass. Again, there are many good examples from history, and there are many good examples from cult followers being dedoctrinated as well. Like I said, many good examples. I don't want to get into them because they're very fucking dark, and I really don't want this video to be demonetized if it's not already demonetized. But going forward, I can actually see them destabilize a lot of the region, or at least slowly begin destabilization of the NWO and sort of show the cracks that are already filling. Poland is a good example. Poland, historically speaking, has always been a nation of patriotism, of being conquered but fighting for their freedom. You could actually have it to where a representative of Poland actually infiltrates their alternate counterparts and begin actually, showing the cracks and begin a revolution against the NWO regime, causing a war to happen. Same thing can be said for any of the Baltic states. Another one, of course, would be the Nordic regions. Norway is a country that is known for its Slavic descent, its Scandinavian descent. It is a powerful and proud nation. And if the author needs names for these nations, you could call them the Nordic states. You can call this alternate version of Poland, pulling, of course, from Iron Harvest, Polonia. You can go with these names. You can go with this. Again, it's totally up to you, my friend Francis, to actually do this if you want. I'm just throwing out suggestions. And it would give cool credences to a two-sided war. Show the NWO that they themselves truly do not have the power, and that their little world organization is much more fragile than they know. Again, it's one of those things of, it's totally up to you. Not only that, but have an alternate America that was basically these cast-offs, these people that basically were trying to get away from the NWO and made their own isolationist nation, where they believe in the idea of freedom and democracy. While, yes, still wary of course, the Titans, they themselves still understand that the NWO's goal is not the right way to go. It should be one's own personal freedom and choice. America's motto has always been life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And you can definitely go on this. You can go on this alternate world's America fully believing in these, but not having the power to do it. And when that America is discovered and they find out how beaten they are, how demoralized they are, could definitely hurt our version of America and sort of empower them to try and give these people that sort of literally showing them what our America has been able to do, what our America has been able to achieve, and literally go from there. Again, there is a lot of ways you can do this, and I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments section of how this world could change, what kind of infiltration operations they can do, and sort of destabilize the NWO. But moving on from there, Aaron Yeager is shown in this. But I'm just going to say this now. How you can do this and how you can destroy the Titans is through our world's genetics. And I mean this. Genetic technology is a lot more advanced than we give ourselves credit for. We can actually fully create a serum that actually destroys the Titan gene at a genetic level. Now, I'm not advocating for freaking chemical warfare here. I'm just advocating for some genetic altercations to actually fully destroy the Titan gene and actually liberate this world from the Titans. And it is fully possible because it has been confirmed that the Titan powers is wholly genetic, is on a genetic level. And you can either change it or destroy it. It depends on how the author words this and does this and actually researches into like subjects of stem cell research, genetic alterations, genetic modifications, genetic augmentation. It depends on how you want to do this, Francis. But overall, this story is really good, and I'm really looking forward to the war, as well as how the cracks show and how this world is plunged essentially into a massive world war. Not only against us and our United Nations, but also against themselves and their member states, realizing just how evil the NWO actually is and how a world government is not good in its current state. But, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have to say. If you want to read this one yourself, Freedom Rings is down below in the comments section in the pinned comment. And the cool part is that he's actually done an update and upgrade and even done a great cover for for the fight we chose, which will also be in the pinned comment down below. Go show that man some love. Seriously, he does great work, and hopefully one day we'll have him on for an interview. But, till then, ladies and gentlemen, I've been AirsoftAL, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments section if you want to help support the content I produce. Consider donating to our PayPal down below. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, I've been AirsoftAL, and while we're in the later half of America Month, more America-themed stories are to come. The next one being Ruby! What that is and how that goes, well, I leave that to you. But I will say this, it has to do with Kaiserreich.